Do you want better focus? Of course you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't have made this decision to join the Kwick Focus Blueprint program. And so, on behalf of my team and myself, I want to congratulate you on joining us. And this really is a coaching program where it's you and I and the community, and we're going to do this together. So this is not something that you're going to do alone. We're about to embark on a 30-day journey together, and we're going to explore the lands of sharper focus so you could have better learnings, enhanced productivity, so you could perform better. And suffice it to say, you know this already, right? That all achievement, all accomplishments require focus. It's an absolute requirement. Your health, your relationships, your career, they all need it. Yet focus can be a challenge to master. Can you relate to that? Sure, most people want to learn how to improve their focus. They want to boost their concentration. They want to pay attention better. But how many people are actually doing it? It's hard, right? Because we live in a very noisy world. There's constant distractions and app updates and social media alerts and emails and texts and information overload and overwhelm, and we're carrying our work with us in our pockets all the time. And we're so easily accessible to everybody at a moment's notice. So distractions, this constant bombardment of distractions, can make focus very difficult. And that's really why I created this program for you. It is full of the best ideas I've found with working with clients for the past 25 years on how to get and stay focused. And together we're going to break down the science behind sharpening your mind and paying attention. So there's an art and there's a science to attention and focus. So whether you're looking to focus on your goals in learning, in life, in your health, relationships, in business, this is the system that's going to help you get there faster. Now, when I'm talking about goals, I want you to start thinking about what your goals are for this program. Meaning, what would you like to happen from having better focus? I'm going to ask you in a little bit to write them down, and we're going to talk about more of this later. So what exactly is focus? You can say it's the act of concentrating on something. For me, it's the metaphor I use is that of a magnifying glass. Let's say you're outside and the sun is shining, and as a kid, have you ever done this? You have a magnifying glass and you start burning like leaves and stuff. Some people burn ants, and I look at ants as automatic negative thoughts, and we're going to talk about how to really maintain and influence your personal thinking in terms of the questions that you're asking on a regular basis, because questions really determine a lot of your focus. But when you're thinking about the sun shining and it's going through a magnifying glass, and what allows you to burn those leaves is it becomes a sharp, very bright point, right? A very bright point. And isn't it interesting that that's the word we use to describe somebody who's intelligent, right? We say that person is very bright because we feel like they're smart. But maybe they're not smarter than anybody else. Maybe they're just better focused. Do you know what I mean? That when you take, let's say, a light bulb and you harness the energy, and instead of it going out and flooding the room, you harness the energy to a singular point, and then all of a sudden you could burn a hole in like the wall. And that's the power of focus. So you think about what you want to accomplish in your life. It requires focus, right? And what if you could burn through things like that so it's really effortless? Because we all deserve an easier life, right? But sometimes people avoid the difficult things. But I find that when people just do the easy things in life, that life is hard. But when you do the more difficult things in life, then life becomes easier. And so part of what we're going to talk about are the principles of focus. In fact, let's talk about 3 of them right now. When you think of somebody who is incredibly focused, how do you perceive them? When you think of somebody, picture in your mind right now somebody that represents focus to you, someone who you feel like has a high level of focus. How would you describe them? Are they getting things done? Do they manage their time? Are they checking things off of their lists? I mean, these are leaders, right? You're thinking of people who are accomplishing things, they're achieving things, they're focused, because what's the opposite? When somebody no longer has focus, what do you picture? If you picture somebody who's easily distracted, that goes from one thing to another, they dabble in different things. When you think about their personality, and in terms of their attainability, in terms of success and sustainable success, it's very difficult, right? So inherently focus is going to help you get the things that you want faster. So there are three principles I want to give you up front when it comes to focus. First, number one, I want you to think about focus not as something that you have, but something you do. Focus is not a noun, but it's more a verb. And this is going to be very important. When we teach our programs at Kwick Learning, I talk about creativity is not something you have. Creativity is something you do, right? Memory is not something you have, and memory is something that you do. And when it comes to focus, it's the same thing. Focus is not something you have, it's something that you do. Meaning, once you realize that it's a verb, then you could turn it into a process. I like to think about it as a recipe. One of the things I would love for you to be able to accomplish over the next few days is really to think about having a focus plan. Like, what's your focus recipe? If focus is something that you do, then you could duplicate it. And I'm going to give you a lot of strategies, tools, and resources, various principles throughout this 30-day program. And the thing is everybody has a different focus type. Some people focus better than others under different circumstances. So I'm going to give you a nice toolbox where you could decide which of these tools are right for you. And if you're learning this also with your family, you could also notice their preferred focus styles, if you will. So the second principle, after the first principle is saying that it's not something you have, it's something you do. The second principle of focus I want to offer you is this, that there is no such thing as a good or bad focus. There is no such thing as good or bad focus. There's just trained focus and untrained focus. And so that means focus is something that you could improve, with proper training, right? And so that's the challenge though, is when's the last time you took a class on focus? Probably never, right? This is probably the first class for most of you who are taking a class or training on focus. I always thought this should have been taught back in school. It's because the challenge is school taught us what to learn, important subjects, math, history, science, Spanish, but how many classes were really on how to learn? How to be creative, how to listen, how to read faster, how to remember more. And probably one of the most important things are how to focus. How do you concentrate on one task until that task gets done, right? And so the third principle I'd like to give you up front as we're having this conversation together is that focus is a muscle. I want you to think about focus as a muscle. And just like any muscle, it can grow stronger with use. But here's the thing, it's use it or lose it. It's use it or lose it. A lot of people are actually focusing on this idea of distraction more. They're focused on distracting themselves, and they need multiple things going on at once, because every single time that you move to one thing to another, you check your phone or you check social media and you get a like and you get a comment and you get a share, you get these dopamine fixes, right? Because the mind thrives on novelty. And so some people, they're wired because of distraction. And we're going to talk about in this program on certain days on how to eliminate distractions and really set up your environment to win. I'm going to show you how to set up your best focused environment so you can get things done. And when I say get things done, they could be things on your list, your to-do list, or maybe things on your to-learn list. And you're also going to find that we're going to talk about your not-to-learn list, your not-to-do list, if you will. And so we're going to talk about things, specifically when I talk about focus, basically saying that focus can really only happen when you say yes to one option and say no to really everything else. You say no to all the other options. So in other words, deletion is a very important process to focus. It's a prerequisite, if anything, right? Meaning that what you decide not to do determines really what you can do. And so focus is the key to productivity, because saying no to every other option really unleashes your ability to accomplish the one thing that you remains. The one thing that is remaining, the one thing that is left. And we're going to talk about how to do that on a regular basis. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do right now. I'm going to ask you right now to, as we go through this program, this is how it's going to work. You're going to listen to one coaching lesson a day. Each session is about 10 minutes. We make it very, very bite-sized, very digestible, so you could absolutely fit it. The second thing I'm going to ask you to do, besides listening to one coaching lesson, is to schedule this lesson. I recommend that you listen at the same time every single day. And what I'm going to call this is going to be your focus time. This is going to be your time for yourself, time well spent, and you're going to schedule it on your calendar like an appointment you would never miss, like an appointment with your doctor, or like an appointment with your personal trainer, or an appointment with your boss, or if you are the boss, somebody that works for you, or your shareholders or investors, an appointment you will not miss. This is time for you. This is time that's incredibly well invested. And finally, number three, I'm going to ask you to do the homework. Each focus lesson, I'm going to give you one thing to do, and that's going to be your homework. Because the bad news is it takes effort. The good news is it doesn't take as much as you think. And we're going to go through a lot of great information and great insight, great instruction. I'm going to talk about in this program the best focus foods and also foods that you might be eating that's hurting your focus. I'm going to teach you ways to get rid of your negative thoughts that's putting your focus in places that are not productive or not empowering. I'm going to show you exercises that's going to help increase your focus. I'm going to talk a little bit about brain nutrients, and there's certain nutrients that really help enhance focus. I'm going to be talking about how to set up focus friends, accountability partners in this process. I'm going to show you how to set up your best focus environment. We're going to talk about how to manage your sleep so that you can have better focus, because when you have a bad night's sleep, how's your focus the next day? It's pretty crummy, right? You can't focus, you can't solve problems, you can't think, you can't learn. And so I'm going to talk about even focus on learning, how to maintain your focus while you're reading, how to improve your comprehension while you're reading, how to focus when it comes to your memory, and also how to really set up your goals to win. Not only how to set goals, but how to really get goals. And that's really what I want your assignment to be right now. I'm going to give you a process of goal setting, and I call it GPA, and I want you to apply it in your homework today. So for your homework, the G stands for goal. So as I open this session with is, I want you to think about your big goal for this program. At the end of 30 days, when we're at the end of 30 days together, what is the thing that you're really excited about? Meaning, what's your big focus goal? And I want you to write that, and I want you to write it specifically in a journal. So that's number two. I want you to think about your big focus goal, number one. And number two, I want you to get a focus journal to be able to take notes every single time. So have a dedicated journal to help you to be able to focus. And I want you to write in your journal your big focus goal, your BFG. And this is your goal that gets you excited, where you'd like to be 30 days from now. Now, when I'm talking about GPA, most people think about grade point average back in school. But for me, the G stands for goal, the P stands for purpose, which is really your why. And I want you to write this down in your journal. Why do you want this goal? What is this goal going to give you? As my friend Simon Sinek says, start with why. It's a wonderful book. And in this course, I'm going to teach you and give you a lot of resources. And some of those resources are going to be apps that's going to help you to focus. Some of them are going to be certain foods. Some of them are going to be certain experts. So the book I would recommend is Start with Why. And so I want you to write not just your goal, but the P is your purpose. Like, what's the purpose of that goal? What is it going to do for you? Why do you want it? And finally, the A stands for action. Action. It goes from your head, your goal, right? Your heart, which is the purpose, and then your hands, which really comes down to the action. The A in GPA is action. And those are the action steps that we're going to talk about every single day. So again, three things here I'm going to ask you to do. Number one is to think about your big focus goal. Number two, I want you to get a focus journal and write that goal down, as well as your purpose and some action steps that's going to get you close to that goal. And we're going to cover all these in the next 30 days. And finally, make sure the third thing you do is schedule your listen time. Schedule your listen time for your focus. This is your focus time, time well spent. And these next 30 days, it's going to go by fast, right? Because these small little improvements, they get compounded. They get compounded daily. It's like the metaphor we talk about doubling a penny, right? It seems something simple. If you take a penny, you have 1 penny on day one, and you double it. So you have 2 pennies on day two, you have 4 pennies on day 3, you have what? 8 pennies on day 4, and so on. But do you know how many pennies you have at the end of 30 days? At the end of 30 days, on the 30th day, after just doubling a penny 30 times, you have $5.3 million. $5.3 million after 30 days. And that's the power of compounding, right? And so if you make little incremental improvements every single day, it might not seem like a lot after the first few days, but over the first week and the second week and the third week and the fourth week, after 30 days, it can be a completely different destination, completely different destiny. So I'm looking forward to being on this journey with you, because it's not just about the destination. Of course, it's about the journey, and we're going to go on this journey together, so you're not alone. So what you're going to do right now, again, is you're going to think about your big focus goal for this course, and then you're going to write down your goals, purpose, and some action steps you could take in your focus journal, and you're going to schedule the time that you're going to listen to it every single day. And if you can, put the comments down also. If you want to share on your comments down below, please share it with us your big focus goal. And that way we can support each other. We can cheerlead for each other. Because here's the thing, you're not alone. We're in this journey together. Because I do believe in this focus team. Together, everyone achieves more. This is Jim Kwick, your focus coach. I'm looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Bye now.